Joseph, by the way. Has anyone seen any of the backstage videos I've done or been to audit one of the classes at my studio? Or are you guys all new to me in the work?
So Juan has done an audit.
Oh, cool. Let's see. Where's Juan? Hey, Juan. Thanks for watching the work.
And we've
it's good. Yeah, really good stuff.
And then there's another actor who will be coming, Alex. He audited a couple of weeks ago as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys are all welcome to come watch the work in any of my classes, including the master class where we have sort of our series lead and celebrity level actors getting a workout. But yeah, Sean, I'll wait. I'll let you sort of run the show. Let me know when everybody's here, and then we can hang and talk about
look, we can get started. So for everyone who doesn't know, Joseph is a celebrity acting coach over in LA. I was lucky enough to train with him when I was in LA myself last year for a month. Joseph teaches around the world as well. And he also does coaching for actors for award presentations, teaching them how to lose gracefully too.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes that is true, as weird as that sounds.
So I thought, because Joseph has a lot of experience with not only the coaching side in terms of acting itself, but also in the business side, because he works with a lot of agents and managers over in the States as well. I thought this would be a good opportunity for you guys to ask him questions about the business, about the work. And yeah, basically it's going to be open forum for you guys to lead the way and ask him questions. He loves a good Q&A.
I do. I love a good Q&A. I'm so looking forward to this Q&A. I've been just in classes and coaching and workshop all day, and I'm just looking forward to just hanging out and talking with you guys. And like I said, thank you for Sean. Thank you for. I feel lucky to have met you and to have welcomed you to the studio. And so thank you for asking me to do this. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you to you guys for hanging out. What time is it? Like, are you guys all in the same city? Or tell me a little bit about, let me do this. Let's do this. Can we go around and have just everyone, because it's relatively small, just say your name and where you're located? That would be kind of fun. And I get to kind of know who you guys are. And
let's start with Steph.
Okay. Hey, Steph.
Hi, I'm Steph and I'm in Sydney.
Hey, Steph, welcome.
It's
Thanks for hanging out with
beautiful 10 a.m. for us.
Oh, good. Oh, my God. Thank you for getting up. It's a little early.
I'm in bed. I haven't got up yet.
What time is it in LA? It's 5 p.m. Probably yesterday or something like that.
Yeah, yesterday for us.
Things. It's so nice to not have to click anything. Steph, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Who's next? Oliver?
Oliver, yeah.
Yep. G'day. Hi, I'm Ollie, and I'm in Sydney as well. So,
hey, Ollie.
I have got dressed, but only about 10 minutes ago.
Welcome. You're in Sydney as well.
Yeah.
Cool, Ollie.
Yeah.
Thank you. And cool. Madeline? Hey, Madeline, if you could.
You're on mute, Maddie.
It's all good. It happens to me every day. I do it all the time too. I always tell the actors, unmute. Unmute is one of the quotes of the year. Hey, Maddie or Madeline?
Either. I go by Maddie most of the time.
Hey, Maddie.
If I'm in trouble, I'll go by
Nice
Madeline.
to meet you.
Okay. I'm in Melbourne. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a bit sweaty because I did a class earlier, so I'm just.
Oh, good, you guys. You know what? Like, just thanks for being here. I don't care if you're hanging from the ceiling or from your toes and just having worked out. Also in Sydney.
Melbourne.
Melbourne. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Annie.
Hello.
Hey, Annie.
I'm Annie, obviously. It's on the screen. Exciting stuff. I'm in Sydney and I'm currently in the QVB because retail's open and essential.
Oh, cool. I couldn't tell if it was one of those like fake backgrounds, but it's like, it's totally real. That's awesome.
I'm not that tech savvy. I would have no idea how to do that. So I went for a location just for you.
Cool. Thank you, Annie. And Juan?
Hey, I'm in Melbourne as well. My hair is wet because I went for a run before. So I'm also like so tired. I'm so unfit. I've done like nothing throughout all of this like ISO stuff. And then
Okay.
So I will be out of breath. Yeah, thank you for doing
I don't know.
this.
I didn't. It's so funny. You guys are all explaining why your hair is wet. I didn't even notice it. I'm not imagining some other situation that's, I could, but I'm not. Steven, hey.
Hi, yeah, I'm Stephen, and I'm in Brisbane. I think I'm one of the few with Ryan that's in Brisbane at the moment.
Very cool. Thank you. And Brodie?
Oh, I don't think I'm muted. Yeah, I'm in Perth, so it's 8 a.m. here.
Cool. Welcome from Perth. Let's see. I think Adam, it's okay if you don't want to be. If you can hear, you can introduce yourself, Adam.
Hello, I'm Adam.
Adam.
I know you can't see me. I worked late last night.
Are you soaking wet too?
No, I just haven't woken up completely.
That's all good. That's all good. Thank you guys. I'm honored you guys are here so early. And it's, my name is Joseph Pearlman. I live in Los Angeles. My studio is called Pearlman Acting Academy, or PAA. We offer private coaching and classes via Zoom from Hollywood to anywhere in the world. We have actors in our classes all over the world, from Australia to where's one of the wildest places? I can't remember. I'm blanking on the name of it. Anyway, we help actors launch their careers faster, reach Oscar potential on set. And we work with celebrities, beginners, working professional actors. I help coach performers for the Oscars, Grammys, Emmys. We now have a studio in Japan and South Korea. We just opened up that recently. And one of the things that we believe, that I believe and we believe, is that you can launch your careers faster and with less effort when you're lit up with fun. It's one of the things we talk about all the time. Great actors know the work is great because you feel it, not because you're watching your playback or because you get a commentary on it. You know what great acting feels like. And when you're lit up with fun, anything is possible. And one of the other things that you're all invited to come watch for free, one of our classes, including my master class on Thursday, which is, we have Game of Thrones actors, Last Kingdom actors. Let's see, one of the actors in master class was there as an Australian gentleman by the name Dan Furigal. Dan Furigal, who's an Australian actor, was one of the stars of Spartacus. And you guys are welcome to come watch that work. Rena Owen is one of their clients in masterclass. Rena Owen from Once Were Warriors. She's a New Zealander. And yeah, I want you guys to, ask me anything you want. Oh yeah, so one of the other resources is that I've been writing for and doing videos for Backstage Magazine for so many years. And when the whole COVID thing started, we've been working with actors like this for years. I coached Ridley Scott's last movie, just like this, the lead actors in that, and do classes like this. And so we always work like this. And so you can go to Backstage Magazine or just put in Joseph Pearlman Backstage. I do a video every week, a YouTube live, and then it gets archived and you can watch it on almost every part of, last week I did one on like debunking industry myths. There's so many sort of mind viruses and stories of suffering that actors tell themselves about how to do this. And I debunked that. One video on, how to put together a winning taped audition, how to guarantee a win. That's what we talk about with the acting, showing the actors how to make acting choices to guarantee a win. And so you can watch those videos. There's a lot of them. And then tomorrow's video at 11 a.m. Pacific, which is yours to figure out, what you don't have to watch it live, is on the different styles of auditioning. Is that a first read is different than a callback, is different than a pre-read. You don't want to do what once worked in your callback. You want to do something different. So I'm kind of deconstructing things, but really helping to like infuse you guys with a lot of fun and confidence that you can do it. And it doesn't have to be climbing the mountain. It's possible to teleport to where you want to be in your career. You don't have to suffer your way up a hill. As Jason Bateman, the actor who's in Ozark now, said to actors at his Emmy acceptance speech for Ozark, he said, you're just one job away from the next big thing in your career is happening. And if you're just one job away, you put the focus on that, you don't have to listen to all the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that's sort of spread actor to actor. And I really help actors think about things differently, like when you're making your acting choices, your character descriptions, your scene directions, they were never your acting instructions to obey. So we get clear when we're working on acting is like, what's the obvious choice? What is everybody going to do it the same way? versus what is the actor that's going to book that role going to do, have the bravery to do, the dangerous acting, to do it in a way that nobody had ever seen. And that's, you know, that's what we do. And one of the videos on Backstage you can watch today or anytime is basically how to create dangerous level acting choices that throw your audience off balance. So I can talk about anything. I can, you know, keep talking, but what I want to do is answer your questions. I want to talk to you about anything related to career and anything related to making choices to guarantee an audition win or basically get to sort of an award level performance on set. And then with regards to the acting is that, you know, one of the sort of stories of suffering that a lot of actors say, well, if I'm not in, you know, I'm not in Sydney or I'm not in LA or I'm not in New York, I can't compete for major roles. You can compete for major roles and launch a major career from anywhere in the world. You're working with a wonderful agency, I know, but I would say that, you know, one of the reasons I tell actors to stop looking for reps if they don't have them, because what happens is they think agents and managers are this magic pill and somehow they get all the auditions. It's still the actor's responsibility to build relationships. There's a right way to build relationships with the people that you actually want to work with. Writers, directors, producers, not just casting directors. In the US, casting directors don't cast actors. Producers do. And I think a lot of the people that come to Backstage, there are a lot of things they sort of don't know about how things work. And so they're approaching casting directors and trying to get in their good graces. But what I'm helping the people that I work with do, you guys, is how do you learn how to sell yourself when you pick up the phone? Sell yourself in the most positive way. What is the high-level marketing and branding, the Harvard Business School marketing and branding that you're going to use when you pick up a phone in the right way to build a game-changing relationship with an executive producer, a creator, a writer, director, and then to pull on the string of that relationship for them to get to know you as a human being, not as somebody who wants something. And from the support of that relationship, actually get into the casting mix long before it ever gets to a casting director. So there's a whole other level to this industry that's a lot more fun, a lot more, you know, you feel better about yourself at the end of the day. So I believe, again, that it's possible to have impact. As Seth Godin says, one of my favorite writers, effort isn't the point, impact is. If you guys solve a problem in 3 minutes, whether it's a phone call to the head of a production company, or whether it's solving the problem of how to deliver a winning audition choice, you've made art. If you solve a problem in 3 minutes, you've made art. And if you move 10,000 pounds of granite, Seth Godin says, you haven't made art, at least not art that connects. So your greatest achievements are going to be a result of your impact, working smartly, not your effort. And every part of the process can and should be fun, including memorization. And there's a video I did on that, how to memorize faster with less effort, because memorizing can be kind of sucky. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. I've filled up hours of video on Backstage and you can devour it, but I just want to have a personal conversation with you guys and I will go in any direction. So talk to me. Have a question. Yes, Ollie, go for it.
Thanks, Joseph.
And by the way, just quickly, I live in Los Angeles. I have a wife. I have a 4-year-old daughter and a golden doodle. And this is where I'm at right now. I've been doing classes like this from my home office for a while now. Anyway, Ollie, question.
You also have a very smart pair of dynamic headphones, I noted. Nice choice.
Oh, yes. Aren't these great?
Yeah, I love them. I love that.
What do you have? The 200 ohm or which ones do you have?
I've got the...
Yeah, the 250s, yeah.
Yeah, great. That was my question. My question is, we're increasingly hearing strange rhetoric from casting directors about casting real people, by which they mean not actors, and looking to sort of discover people who haven't had training. What are actors doing that is making people want to do that? And how can those of us who are trained actors get around that new attitude?
Well, I feel like, I don't know, is this happening in Australia or do you hear this happening from casting directors? Because this was something that was kind of it's not a thing. It's not a thing. It was a thing a couple of years ago where real people or social media influencers getting cast, but it was blowing up in their faces because the production teams were having to fire them because of they're not actors. You know, it was like a really fast realization is, oh shit, we should have hired an actor. Where are you hearing this from, Ollie? Which casting director? Because this is a non-issue in the US.
I mean, maybe I'm sort of more generally in the ether. Maybe I could just slightly broaden the question just to say, what do you find? How do you find that trained actors, and maybe even say theatre trained actors or people who've been drama school, how are those people, you know, not helping themselves in a room? What are the habits you're immediately having to try and undo? Anything like that?
Well, okay. So first, with regards to the other question, to me, that's a non-issue. It's not an obstacle. Don't worry about it. I would say don't worry about it at all. It's like the talent is in the choices, as Stella Adler said. You know, and there's training and there's good training. And then there's great training. And I came from a conservatory background. I went to New York University. We've been actually doing workshops with NYU to help those people that graduated NYU bridge the gap between their classic training and technique. And what is it? Maybe if you could just because there's a lot of background noise. Would you mind muting and then I'll open it up again one sec? Thank you. Terrific. Even at great classic training technique schools, conservatories, I find what happens is that there is not this thing that bridges the gap between that training and what it's like to actually get into a major audition or a major feature film set. They're training you, but they don't know how to on-ramp it. And what I found in my training at NYU was almost like you went through this training, and then when you graduated, it was like they took you out on like a tanker ship to the middle of the ocean, pushed you off, and then sped away. And it was like, what the fuck? What? This doesn't have any, just trained to theater. All the training is useful, but I help the actors that I work with come from different amounts of training, but I help them bridge the gap between that training and doing work that doesn't smell like the training, that doesn't reek of the training, that takes on the form of their personality. So the training should be only scaffolding, okay? Really good training is planting emotional seeds inside of you. And then when you're acting, the training has no business in the acting. Otherwise, the work will be polluted by it. You want to be under the influence of the training, living off the interest of the training, not doing the training. I think of it like, think of great training like an Olympic athlete, you know? It's in your muscle memory. It's in your bone blood memory. And when it's time for the race, the work has been chucked out the window. Meryl Streep talks about this. Any training, however great, should be balled up and dropped or thrown out the window because you do not want the final acting reeking of, think of it like scaffolding on a building. That's like training. The scaffolding kicks away because you've been filled up. And acting is finding ways of relating and identifying. 90% of the performance is your personality. 90% of your success potential is your personality. And that doesn't mean that I'm telling you you're playing yourself. You're not. You're figuring out under what conditions would it be possible for me to feel this, for me to do this. And because you cannot create a humanity and a soul that's more interesting than your own. One of my favorite quotes was a Melissa Bruder quote. The person you are is 1,000 times more interesting than the greatest actor or actress you could ever hope to be. And so we're bringing our personality to it. That's what I did with Zooey Deschanel when she was younger, is that sometimes we want to run away from our personalities. So again, we're not playing ourselves. The work is all about asking yourself, under what conditions would it be possible? It's you drunk on these emotions. And you don't have to pull from things that happen to you, because you guys, we're all these human animals capable of relating and identifying with an infinite amount of experience. So we can have fun. We can plug these emotions into us. And so in the work that I do, that you're so welcome to come watch at some point, it's the actors are talking out loud. Their words are becoming their reality, and they're talking emotionally to the point where they find this hook. The difference between good and great, are you starting every scene emotionally full instead of empty, period. And then you let it go. And think of acting as like you're coming into a room and you're having a conversation with someone. Before you come in the room, you may have just fallen in love or gotten broken up with, but you're using a bellows. You guys know that you're using a bellows to stoke some coal, that thing that blows the air. And it's this emotional coal, sort of like it's red emotionally. And then when you start the acting, you chuck the bellows out and you walk in, and it's not going to feel any harder than as if you were playing yourself, because all the work is done. So that's the fun of it. And so it's being responsible in your work and not in the scene thinking, okay, I'm this thing, I have to hit this beat on this line, and there's a change here, or my super objective. Sometimes actors say, well, how important is understanding the whole piece? I got to tell you, in the last Ridley Scott movie that I did, the ending was changed 8 times. Can you imagine the actor that was basing their performance in one scene on what they thought the ending was? No. The unit of study is scene by scene by scene. That's what's so beautiful about what we do. Yes, read the script, know what's coming, but just know that in a film script, a well-written Ridley Scott movie script, the ending could be changed 8 times. So the unit of study is scene by scene. And I'll tell you something. I'll say it again. Great actors know the work is great because you feel it. And I'm going to give you something you can put in your pocket. And, you feel these 4 things. And they're binary. You don't have to think about it. It was fun. You ask yourself, was it fun? Not like a kid's birthday party, but cathartic, alive, invigorated, empowered. Like I just climbed Mount Everest and I want to die, but every pore in my body is saying, fuck yes. It's like invigorated. 2, did it feel effortless? Your best acting should feel as easy and loose as if you were playing yourself. It's going to feel like you're not doing anything, and it might be terrifying. A lot of actors feel that every moment should be like birthing a calf. It's like Will Ferrell did an impression of the actor giving 110% all the time. So fun. 2, effortless. 3, impact. This is everyday life with all the boring parts cut out. Are you having impact? Are you affecting change? And lastly, your best work should feel like you, like your version of it, not the way you think it should be. And here's another really, really important one. When you get a role, immediately let go of your idea of who you think she is or he is. Let go of your idea of it until you discover it. And Stella Adler said this: facts, F-A-C-T-S, facts are death to an actor until fed through imagination to become experience. And if you have an idea, you can never solve the problem of how to play the character in your head. It has to be discovered out loud in the work. Otherwise, you're going to be attached to an idea of it. And when you discover something brilliant, your mind is not going to let you go. But shouldn't it have been like that? Joaquin Phoenix told this story recently. And he said, for the Joker, did you guys see the Joker movie? The Joker movie? Yeah, it's okay. He said, for the Joker movie, I made the mistake of having an idea of what I thought he was, and it made my ego feel good. It makes our ego feel good to solve the problem of the character. You're never going to find the best choices in the text. It's going to be born from it. And he said, I got on set, I shot 3 weeks with Todd Phillips, the director, and we threw it all away because what we were discovering was so above and beyond what my idea was. So I encourage you to let go of your idea of what it is, because it's just an idea. It's not something that has been fed through imagination to become your experience. And the work that I do with you and actors is I want you to have had the experience of actually being her. And then it's not like you're practicing for an event. It's like you've already done it, and you get to just walk on and not have to do anything anymore. So again, starting every scene emotionally full instead of empty, and then letting it go. Great preparation is like a properly packed parachute that prevents the skydiver from falling to his or her death. Though scared for your life, at the right moment you got to jump out of that plane, trusting the parachute was packed properly. Pull the ripcord and let that parachute guide you. Anything could happen. If it wasn't packed properly, nothing's going to help you. And It's all fun, you guys. None of this has to be a head trip. None of it has to involve suffering. You can do it all with fun. You can bend time in a cool way. How you feel is what you get. How you're feeling now is what you're going to get tomorrow. And it's what's going to make you attractive to other people and magnetic. When you go into a room, whether it's a Zoom space like this, whether it's an audition, a live one, whether it's on set, there are 3 things you want to establish before you start acting. That's why you don't want to invest in the preparation where you're whipped up into what you're going to do before you're going to make the opportunity for the audition, for the person to interview you. Production teams, casting are trying to figure out what you're going to be like to hang out with for 6 years or a year. And so that's why you need an acting preparation that you can light up in 1 second. What do you need to think about when you walk into a room, a space? You think about it like, how do I want to walk into my relationship? How do I want to walk into a casting office? And the difference is, again, you want to walk in lit up instead of empty, and you want to establish 3 things. 1, that you're fun to play with. 2, that you're somebody that somebody can personally like. And 3, that there's no desperation, that you don't want anything from anybody. You don't need something. Think about it in terms of relationships or dating or friendships. It's like, you don't want somebody that wants something from you. You want to get to know, oh, wow, she's going to be so fun to hang out with. He's going to be so fun to play with on set. And you can't try to do this. It's more about what you're not bringing in. So we're leaving some bullshit at the door and we're plugging into something more fun. So one of the neat things I get to do with the actors in class is I actually get to coach them on how them that's walking in the room, which is super, super fun. So this was the longest answer to this question, Ollie. Letting the preparation go, okay? Or people that have come through preparation thinking that there's some fully trained actor, not realizing this is like an ever expanding thing. It's like even Oscar level actors come and get training here. Do you know, it's like they're still, and the fun thing is that one of my favorite quotes is an Einstein quote. I'll share 2 of my favorite quotes that to me are life-changing. Einstein says, no problem, and you can relate this to a scene or your career, no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. No really good problem can be solved in a really good way using the same level of consciousness that created it. Think about it like a puzzle. You put the puzzle pieces together, you solve the scene, you get the beats and you know the intentions and everything, and then you solve it. And it's good acting, it's a good solution. But then there's the person, the Joaquin Phoenix, the Laura Linney, that takes the puzzle and rips it from the roots up to reveal a face that was on the underside that nobody had ever seen before. And that is dangerous acting. That is great. So to really get to this exciting place acting wise, once you've solved the problem of how to play her, you almost have to forget the problem to discover the thing that nobody had ever noticed. Because those friends, clients, actors that we work with who book the work, the consistent feedback from the producers is this. They say, Joseph, this actor was the only one brave enough to make this dangerous choice. It was that J.J. Abrams said this to one of our actors, who's one of our teachers at the studio. He said, the only reason, thank you for being the only one willing to take a risk. It was the one reason why I told Showtime, we're done, our search is over. And then the other thing the producers say is, it wasn't at all what we were looking for, it was better. Thank you for being the only one willing to not do what everybody else is going to do. Marlon Brando talked about it, and he said, find a way to do it that's never been done before. Get them to stop chewing. Stop the movement of the popcorn to the mouth. And how? Hit them with an attitude, with an opinion, with something that it's a knockout. And that's what we're doing is what are great acting choices? Great acting choices are emotional opinions in your body that somebody cannot ignore, that's going to pop a casting director head off her laptop, that's going to get a producer to stop chewing. We know it when we see it. I know dangerous acting. It's like it takes my breath away. It's hard to breathe. It's intense. And so that's the place that we get people to. I want to take another question or thought, because like I said, there's just so many fun things to talk about with you guys, but I want to make this about you and your questions. Brodie, please unmute and tell us. Yeah.
Hey, I just wanted to go off kind of what you were just saying then. like, we all know dangerous acting. Like when we see it, it feels great, like to watch it. In an audition kind of setting, does that mean, are you kind of the two things that go together? So there's one, like the be yourself, kind of like, how would you be in this situation? And then like deliberately searching for a crazy choice, or deliberately trying to flip it on its head, or do something, I don't know, really out of the blue. Do those things mesh? Does that happen when you are truly yourself, or do you have to actively go find it?
There's some good questions, and I want to make sure I understand it properly. But remember, your preparation is something that has happened before. And to such a degree, the medicine was so strong that you don't have to do anything. You get to live off the interest of it. Now, that being said, the consistent note from casting is, Joseph, we can always pull an actor back. Getting someone to talk and listen and be real, pretty easy. Pulling that brave, dangerous choice out of him or her, we can't. If they didn't have the courage to do it in the beginning, we're not going to pull that out. We can always pull an actor back, but we can never pull a brave, fun, dangerous choice out of him if he didn't have the courage to do it to begin with. So that being said, somebody can always pull you back from that. But here's an example of it. And rule number one of any audition is this: never guess what you think they are looking for. The last thing you should ever do is to be trying to please a casting director. They don't even cast you. They're just bringing a big group into a small group and showing it to producers. Don't guess what you think they are looking for. Assume you are who you're looking for. Bring yourself to the piece with a really brave choice. Now, all this work we've done way before the audition starts, so that when you're auditioning, you're ready with your hook, that light up, that thing that lights you up in 1 second. Now that's something you can watch in, come watch one of my classes. All of you, all welcome. We do classes at respectable times of day, and you can Sean will tell you, and I'll tell you how to email and reach out. But yeah, so I want to make sure I'm totally understanding your question, Brodie. So do you mean like, one of the things, sometimes an actor will get to a really dangerous, brave choice where it's against the grain. Here's an example. Let's say the character has an anger management problem, and the stage directions or the character descriptions speak to her anger. Stage directions and character descriptions were never for you to obey. And so we try to get to what the obvious choice is. What is every actor going to do to think that they're, what is every actor going to do? And then do the opposite. What would that be like to do the opposite, to start the opposite of anger, and to see it and then maybe go into anger? Here's why we make these brave, dangerous choices. And one of the things that conservatory training hasn't really gotten yet is that in life, you guys, how often do we say everything that we mean and we feel? How often do the words we speak totally reflect the set of animal feelings we always have? Not a lot. Sometimes more than others, if we're really being clear. I want to read you something very short. It's just a sentence, and it was written by a terrific actor, and I think it's revolutionary. Yeah, here it is. It's from the actor Martin Landau, and he said this: in a well-written script, what people say to each other, the dialogue, it's only what a character is willing to reveal, willing to share with another person. The 90% he or she isn't willing to share is what I do for a living. And so why are we making acting choices in the name of doing justice to the script where we are emotionally obeying the script? What we really want to do is figure out, okay, I see that these are the words that are being said. I don't necessarily need to make emotional choices based on those words. I can actually do more justice to the writing, really blow the writer away by actually figuring out what's going on underneath the sheets of the scene. What's going on the underside? What am I really feeling? And so the great choices we're making is not to just be contrary and stand out and be big for the sake of being big, Brodie and everyone. It's to actually reflect more of what we do in life. And that's the thing, that even at the highest level of conservatory training, they're in the name of doing justice to the writing. Well, what is it? What's the intention? It's something like what the writer is suggesting. Well, emotionally, and then they're doing it really well, but it's not great yet. And I'm also going to share something It's a quote from Joaquin Phoenix that I think is deeply important on dangerous acting. And he said this. He said, I will get into a rut in a certain way. These are his words, and there's some, derogatory. He said, I will get into a rut in a certain way that I say a line to the point where you just have to shake the bitch up and find something else because there's no energy, there's no life to it. I'm now trying to say what at one point I had said with some feeling, but now I'm just trying to copy it. It doesn't have anything behind it. So I told Paul Thomas Anderson this, and I've told it to every director I've worked with recently. Director, I'm actively, consciously going to do very bad things with my choices to not obey what I think it should be in an attempt to take any pressure off of it, as if to say, I don't know what it's going to be. So there's a certain amount of chaos and fun that we get to embrace once we understand what the scene is. So if you can ask yourself, when you look at a text, what is the text doing that I don't have to do? You're going to open up the path to finding that potentially great choice that gets you the traction on the role. It gets you that win. Brodie, please guide me back to your question if I'm astray, because I do want to answer your questions right on the head.
No, that was really, really good. I think you kind of answered it with the, you don't have to go extremely big, rather than just maybe make crazy choices. And actually it kind of answered my question as well, because it's we are ourselves, whatever choices we make, really, anyway. So it's
totally,
more just flipping it around. Yeah. So that was
You think of it as you guys, it's you under the influence. There's a certain part of the work where I'll say, okay, if it were you feeling this, what would it be like? If it were you with that son of a bitch of a brother, how would it feel for you? What would you feel like? And the new actor would be like, what do you mean? What would I feel? Not you having walked in the room, you drunk on the work. Because it is you guys drunk on the work. The goal of an actor is to reflect your own humanity back at that audience, for them to see you, for you to see them. And you can't create a humanity and a soul that's more interesting than your own. So I cannot tell you at the end of the day how cathartic and amazing it is to use yourself, because it doesn't make you a monster. There's a monster in all of our imaginations. There's an angel in all of our imaginations. But to be able to, what happens is that if you're playing somebody exceptionally evil, it may take you a couple weeks or a couple days. And in this work, we can do it in 20 minutes, but it may take you some time to figure out how you would what would trigger you to do that to somebody. But not only will you figure out what it would take, it's going to be a lot easier than you thought it would be. And it doesn't make you a monster. There's actually a catharsis in it. It's actually makes one a healthier person to blast that out of your body. In acting, your words become your reality. So all the work that you'll see when you come watch the work, as Juan did, it's all talked out loud. We talk it out loud. We don't think it in our head. We don't write a backstory if you want to. That's fine. But you talk it out loud. Your words become your reality in life, and you better believe in acting, and your emotional words blast you into that new reality. So yes. So if there's one thing that I want to you guys be fun, and to give you permission to do your version of it, to ask yourself, like any great artist, is I see it like this. How do I see it? What is it like for me? And not to get into this thing is, what are they looking for? What do they want? They don't know what they want. They're looking for you to be the solution to a problem, and all that. And yeah, it's and at the end of the day too, to figure out okay, when you walk in a room before you start acting, answer the question about ask yourself, one of the questions I ask in the career work I do with actors to get to that thing that you say that can't be ignored is, what do you believe? Ask yourself that question at some point. I believe this. What gets you out of bed in the morning? Don't let your wants or your needs to be liked or accepted get in the way of your best work or showing somebody who you really are. Think of the people who you know and you love. You know what their core values are. So what are your core values? What gets you up? What do you believe? Who are you? What are you about? And it's not the things you want. These are some really good questions to get at. And because I think the actors that I wrote a piece once in Backstage, do you truly love acting? And I think it actually shook a lot of folks who didn't really love it. The people that I work with, who I've worked with for many years, they talk about it like, I do this, Joseph, because it's like a drug. It gets me high. Like it's a way to live life with way more fun and way more full. Like, do you do it because you love it? Do you do it because at the end of the day, it makes you feel incredible when you do it well, you know? So I think like that's sort of, you know, that's the kind of, hopefully something you take away and into some of the other things. But I'm gonna keep taking some questions. Thank you guys for being here and for, yeah, I'm gonna take a question from, let's see, what's your name? With the black headphones and the black hat?
Carlo.
Guy, hi there. Carlo,
Hi.
Carlo, there you go. Hey, Carlo.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you great.
Great. Hi, Joseph. Really loving what you're talking about. I had a question regarding I'm reading Eric Morris technique. Are you familiar? Yes.
I don't know. I know Eric. I don't know if I'm not familiar with his technique, but yeah.
Okay.
So what are you reading that you're connecting with or not connecting with?
There was a phrase, I did a workshop, and the phrase was, if you have life problems, you have acting problems. And I think the road they were trying to go on with that is, if you have trouble being vulnerable in your personal life, how are you ever going to be vulnerable enough to open up to certain emotions in acting? Okay. And do you have anything to say on that, or?
Yeah, I don't agree with it.
Okay.
I don't agree with it because of this. Because why are you saying something like that? If maybe, I mean, I believe how you feel is what you get. And I don't think life problems can't be overcome with some really fun work. So I'm helping actors get rid of what we call mind viruses or stories. Yuval Noah Harari, one of my favorite authors, Sapiens, he said, we have to be careful about the stories we tell each other, especially the stories that involve suffering. And anything that you would say that like, everybody's got life problems. Are you kidding me? Everybody's got problems here and there. Fuck. I mean, like, yeah, some people have less than another, but man, it's what makes us human. There's always a certain amount of issues. One leaves, one goes. And it's like to say to yourself, because when you speak, words are so powerful. When you say that, it's like you're putting that out there, and that's more of what you're going to get. And I'm more interested in telling a story of, okay, with whatever things I do have, I'm able to sort of, so yeah, it's like you'll make yourself crazy because everyone's always going to have certain problems. I believe that advice is coming from a good place. Okay. I believe it's coming from a good place, but why put that out there? Because when you say, it's like saying, I really want this, or I'm not there, but I want, that's the place you're going to be in. You're going to be in a place of, well, I guess if I have life problems, I can't be an actor. I can't do my best act. I guess then we always are going to have these life problems. So I could, if you wanted to, you had an issue that you were working with, to blast you out of that in the course of 5 to 7 minutes. And then you would be feeling completely great. So don't get caught up in any story of suffering, and just don't use those words, because I think it's, yeah, how you feel is what you get, but that doesn't mean you can't flip that switch and actually feel the most amazing thing now. That story, life problem, says, oh, these whole series of events has to happen in order to solve the life problem. No, you can actually feel better right now. You can feel good right now, because you think of something you want. This is sort of quantum, something you want. Okay, I did a piece on Backstage, how to teleport to like an A-list career. It's a good one, and there's an exercise I do in it. It's a career, it's a relationship, it's an object, it's a car, it's a house, it's a spouse, it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Think of the thing you want. Do you want that thing? Yes, probably. Or do you want how you're going to feel when you have that thing? So it's possible to feel exactly what you would feel if you had that thing now, not to take the place of getting the thing. We want the thing, but knowing that that's the thing that's actually going to get us that thing faster, and actually get us that thing is to feel that. And one of the cool exercises I'll tell you to do right now is, again, Einstein said this: no, you cannot solve a problem meaningfully from the same level of consciousness that created it. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to give you an exercise to actually flip you into another level of consciousness. We are going to say something. We're going to change the starting bias. We're going to work as if somebody asked you. It's as if somebody asked you, think of what you want in this career, what you want in life. You know, it's like, we're people. It's not all acting. You never want to be trained to be a professional auditioner. It's like, we're all human beings, and 100% of people in this industry are people. What do you want? Series lead in that show, your own show, Oscar, what do you want? And work as if you already have it. It's as if you already have it. And someone just asked you, a relative, a friend, a significant other, a talk show host said, hey, Stephanie, Brodie, Ollie, Annie, how did you get that? What were the key things that you got that? You're changing the starting bias. You're working as if you actually already have it. And the things that are going to come out of you in imagining what were the things that were really important to get me to that place are going to blow your mind. You're working as if you have it to get out of the place of wanting it and the desperation of that and that not good feeling place. And you're going to work as if, oh, how did I get there? And just let your mind go. Don't try to squeeze a thought out. And it's not going to be that I did a casting director workshop. Don't go to casting director workshops. Don't get me started on that. It's all good. It wasn't because I went to a casting director workshop or I did this or that. And God bless you if you do. It's okay. I just have my reasons for why you shouldn't do it. It was because of somebody got to know who I was, like my heart. They got to actually fall in love with me as a person. And then they introduced me to this friend who also knew that I was an actor. And it was because of this that somehow, like, I got this opportunity to, it's like, it's the things you never thought of. There is no one size fits all approach. There's a lot of herd mentality stuff and you have to reject it. It's so easy to be like a waste receptacle for all the crap every industry guru wants to tell you you're supposed to do. And, it's like they just became gurus sometimes and they don't know what this industry is all about. Ask yourself as if somebody said, hey, how did you do it? Like, how did you get there? And you're going to start to talk it out loud and answer that question from that starting bias. It is so cool, you guys. It is such a cool exercise. Yeah, it's really neat. It really throws you off balance. And the real important things come to the surface and all the shit that never mattered sinks below. May seem weird of an exercise, but do it and do it often. Man, did I even answer that question?
You did. That was great.
Okay.
I always
Okay,
struggled with that wording of that question. So I was always trying to look for how can I be more vulnerable in myself, and it kind of held me back. Exactly what you were saying. Like, I feel like I couldn't do certain things. So
cool, you guys. All that matters is that this stuff is useful. That it has utility. Anything that's not useful, what's the point of it? Any other questions or thoughts, or I don't know. I'm opinionated, but but I have a good reason for being opinionated. Maddie, please.
Kind of completely different note, but you said at the start that you work with actors in terms of navigating like award ceremonies and, failure, not doing as well as they may have expected. Can you kind of elaborate on what you talk to them about in that?
Totally. Yeah. Honestly, I do a lot of work with folks who are not even actors. Oh, my video popped out. I'll turn it back on. Gone. I don't know why. Sometimes my webcam freezes a little bit. Anyone ever have that problem with an external webcam? It freezes and then comes back. Annie, you have that issue? It's so annoying. It's a good question. Okay, so these are people that will come to me in preparation for an award ceremony, but I also work with like world leaders. I work with Doctors Without Borders. I help them with TED Talk presenters or giving speeches at the UN. I was invited to McGill University last summer to work with the World Health Organization polio vaccination team. They deliver millions of vaccination in Afghanistan for polio for kids. And one of their doctors was killed by the Taliban. And they didn't get permission to deliver the vaccination. And they had a meeting set up with the Taliban, a theatrics kind of meeting, to get permission. And I was coaching the WHO team for their meeting with the freaking Taliban. It was like, so I do this kind of work and change the level of consciousness, the way people are approaching this. But the actors, these are big celebrity level actors, but they're really scared because they're themselves. They have empowered with like the character and they're on set and it's safe, but this is live and it's going out to millions or 1 billion people live. And so they're a little nervous. And I worked with Zooey Deschanel on some years ago. I first started to do it on, I think it was a Grammy Award speech. And just to like the whole thing about being a gracious loser, that was a question. I was being interviewed by, what was that? It's the show in your country. It was the Today Show. What channel is it? It's on my website. It was
Channel 9.
It was Channel 9 before the Oscars 2 years ago. They were really lovely. And just losers. Sometimes the actors will ask, like, God Almighty, like, what do I do? Because everybody's watching me. How do I lose? How do I lose? I help them, sort of throw sort of an attitude of graciousness into their bodies, just to sort of, even though you're not feeling it. But, to be honest, that's kind of silly. But in terms of an actor getting up there, what I do is same thing I do with someone who's presenting a TED Talk or putting a UN speech or meeting with the Taliban, is how do they basically to start filled up with something, to start emotionally full instead of empty, is to plug into something. Like, let's say you're walking into an audition room. How do you start being instantly magnetic and engaging as you? And so what we do is we do some exercises where we plug into what would be, first of all, what do you feel? Let's talk about the shit that you do feel and uncomfortable. Now, what would you like to feel? Because what I propose is, what would you like to feel? If the thing went as well as you wanted, what would you imagine what would happen? What would you imagine you would feel? And then I would help the actors activate, like spark up in a second, that feeling when they actually walk into that event, so that that's star power. It's emotion. It's starting lit up. So yeah, help them to find something to make it so that they don't have to be nervous, because I don't like it when people say, just don't be nervous. We try to figure out a way to out-fun the nerves. You want to displace it with something more fun. You want to burn through the fog of all that stuff. And when you're under the influence of really fun emotions, then it burns through the nerves and it burns through the anxiety. And they feel funny about coming to me, because it's like, oh my God, and I don't know why I feel weird that I would need to come see someone for this. And it's like, no, I get it. It's like, they're just freaked out because it's like they're themselves and everybody's watching. And like, what if they really see, like, because there's this image of everybody, and these images are crafted and manipulated, and it's crazy shit. So yeah, Maddie, it's really just mostly to out-fun all the stuff that they don't want to feel. And it's similar to what I would do with you if you were in class and we were working on how am I showing up to an audition before I start acting.
Great. That's really cool. Yeah. Kind of like acknowledging the emotion that's already there, but then finding a better one or a more exciting one. Yeah.
Yeah. Another example, there's a guy I work with, Leon Logothetis, British guy. He does a show on Amazon and Netflix called The Kindness Diaries, where he goes around the world relying nothing on but the kindness of strangers for food, shelter, and clothing. And he has a little like yellow motorbike. And I was helping him with a TED Talk he was doing recently, some big thing, I don't know, 50,000 people. And he was like really not feeling, there were some things that were going on when he first walks out on the stage. And so what we did was, I did this work with him, his messages of kindness and love. And after all the work was over, after we asked 100 questions and distilled it, I said, okay, the people that you're coming out to, what's your feeling for them? And he says, nothing but love. And I said, where do you feel it? And then something about like, well, what would you like to, is there something you'd like to say to them or do to them? And he had this incredible image of walking out with this cable connected to his heart and all these cables connecting to their hearts. And his body went out like this. And I said, if your body could speak to them, what would it say? And he would just said, love. And he pumped it out from his chest. And he said, love. And then I said, go into your speech. And he walked right out in the rehearsal we were doing. And he's like, what's up, but what his body really meant, had this beautiful image of cables connected to his heart going into everybody's heart. And that was his thing. And it was like, I said, how does it feel? Was it fun? He goes, yes. And then he said, do I look like Jesus? And I said, don't worry, because your arms are going to come down in a second. Don't worry about looking like Jesus for 2 seconds. Anyway, so that's an example of finding something to out-fun the bullshit stuff that gets in our way, the nerves and all that. And that's what I do with the award stuff. And it's a lot of fun to work with actors and people on like them, on themselves. Doctors Without Borders, Joanne Liu, who served, first woman to serve 2 terms as Doctors Without Borders. I helped her with her debates because she felt like she was getting pulled under the water by these guys who were kind of bullying in the debates. And we found a hook to sort of jump pop right back up in there. And she won presidency 2 terms. And so it's a tremendous amount of fun because this is not acting technique. This is like, it's how we people are feeling emotions in our body. And it's cool to know that if there's something good, like this, the other question we had, you can flip a switch and actually blast it out with a more positive emotion. So whatever issues you have in your life, it'll never hold you back because you'll feel amazing. You can feel amazing in minutes if you want to. You can feel happy in minutes despite the problems, because of the problems. Who cares about the problems? We all have them, all that. Any questions? Yes, please. Yes, hi. Tell me your name, please.
Hi, I'm Sumi.
Hi.
Thank you for doing this. It's been really good.
It's a joy, you guys. Thank you for hanging out. I hope I woke you up a little bit.
Yeah, that was good.
Good.
My
Fried
question
your
is a
hair.
little more technical. It's about the foundation course that you run. How does that run via Zoom for like anybody who's out of country?
Oh man, you should see it. It's actually, we've been doing these classes and workshops via Zoom. You should actually see it because it's just as powerful as in person when we have in person, if not more. You should watch it. Then you'll see how potent it can be because, this is the first time sometimes we're working in a way that we actually see if it is connecting on screen. Sometimes actors can be great in person, but they don't connect on camera.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not a fan of you watching your playback for half a class. That's a waste. Playback is a tool, and it's not actually helpful for every actor to watch their playback. It can be downright toxic.
Yeah.
So every class, you work on a new piece. You have a reader. So what you would do is you would prep a piece. You would then pin your reader. Your reader would pin you. So the only person you would see on your screen is your reader. So you're just talking to her or him. And then everybody would be watching, and we would all be watching with your pin video. So it's very seamless and amazing. Excuse me. I just drank a kombucha and anyway.
Yeah.
And it's really fun and seamless and nothing is lost. In fact, there's more focus this way. And it's amazing to be able to do this level of work like this to loop in people all over the world. And I said, like Ridley Scott's last movie, I worked with the lead actors as they were in Tokyo preparing to shoot. So it would be as simple as if Sean, who's running the meeting, would say, all right, tell me your name again, please.
Sumi.
Suni?
Sumi with an M.
Asumi.
Yeah.
Great. If you were to pin Steven were to pin you guys are seeing each other, then we're following along by pinning your video. And then we go back to the gallery discussion. It is yeah. You have a reader and you send us your scene. We'll show you where to find currently casting sides. You can bring your actual auditions into class. We'll coach you till you have an undeniable breakthrough. You send it to me, to us. And then in 1 second, I'll send it to your reader. She has it. You guys are up and running with the scene. And then it's easy.
Yeah,
it's actually faster than, and we'll always have classes like this for folks all over the world to loop in. And we'll have some in-person classes, but we'll mostly be able to work with actors like this. Now I will take any more questions here, but should you want to come and watch a class, just go to our website, my website, www.josephpearlman.com, JOSEPHPEARLMAN.com, and just send an email through the contact form. Studio manager will hook you up, or you can send an email, info@josephpearlman.com, and just mention today and just say you'd like to come watch a class, and it would be my pleasure to and Sean knows.
Yeah, I'll create a little group chat for us and I'll put all the details for you guys.
Any questions? I want to be respectful of your time too. Is there any other sort of question, industry or acting related? Yeah, Juan, would love to hear it.
So I have two questions, and I think the first one is, what is the main difference? And I think it's going to be desperation is going to be the answer, but the difference between like new and green actors versus the ones that are experienced and the ones that you teach in the in like your masterclass one.
That's a question I can answer very easily, and I have a lot of fun answering it. Thank you for that question one.
Sorry.
As one of Eugene Simon, who was on Game of Thrones for 6 seasons, said, "It doesn't get easier, you just get braver." So it's bravery, it's courage, it's bravery to not second guess your most dangerous or brave choice. It is bravery. It doesn't get easier, you just get braver. It is your job in an audition to stand out without screaming. Okay? So I think it's bravery, it's the courage to actually say, oh, wow, all right, not only is this not like what everyone else is going to do, is it totally opposite from maybe what the text is doing? I'm going to say, fuck it. And that's the thing I'm bringing into the audition room, or that's the thing I'm bringing into on set. And these are the actors that just kill it every single time. You know, some of the actors who have been working with me for over 10 years say, Joseph, it's like, it's only the opposite choices now. It's just, those are the only choices. And every single time it's possible to get a win every time you go into a room. That win being you book the role, or you get a call back, or somebody falls in love with you as an amazing problem solver. They love you as a person, and you come back in every time until you book it. And so the desperation thing, yeah, I think it's like, if you could just adopt the attitude that we're all colleagues and all equals. I'm not better than you. It's like casting directors are not above you. It's like, if you come, that's my issue with workshops, is that it's like casting directors are not above you. Casting directors who respect actors schedule general meetings with those actors, virtually or in person, okay? And general meetings can be scheduled not just with casting, with executive producers, heads of studios, writers, directors, producers. It's a virtual meeting or an in-person meeting, but virtual is so much easier. People are dying to talk. Now is the time to think about building the relationships with the people you've always dreamed of building the relationships with. You have just as much opportunity where you are in Australia as we do in LA, as somebody in Montreal does. We have an actor, friend of mine, Catherine Desev, who did the career work with me in Montreal, great actor. Remember, it's not enough to be good, you have to be great. And your great potential is right there in you, not something that someone can steal from you and sell back to you. And she said she wants to be on The Handmaid's Tale. That was her goal, okay? I showed her how to build relationships in the proper way with Elizabeth Moss and the other executive producers. And her first thought was, oh my gosh, I didn't know you could do that. Who am I to do that? 5.5 months later, she's on the show in an incredible scene with Elizabeth Moss. 5.5 months. And she never left Montreal until she had to shoot that show, okay? You can do it from anywhere you want to do. And it starts with getting great, okay? This is the Olympics. It's not enough to be good. You have to be great. And then, I mean, with this wonderful agency and working with Sean, what a beautiful thing to also have. And then you need to be clear about who you want to work with. It's not okay just to have one show you like. You don't have to watch them all. Thousands of shows, hundreds of projects. Who do you want to work with? Because the movie that you love that came out 5 years ago, guess what? That production team is literally creating 60 other projects right now in development, okay? So who are the people you want to work with that make the stuff that you want to work on? There is a right way and a wrong way to directly reach out to those people when you learn how to, when you learn how to translate your beautiful selves into a phone conversation. These are 30 to 60 second phone calls. And it's like, you do it in the right way. It's terrific. That's how it's done. It's like, Steve Jobs said this, your ability to use the phone properly separates the doers from the dreamers. There was a beautiful documentary with Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre. I think it's called not the Chosen Ones, the Fearless Ones, the Crazy Ones, maybe the Crazy Ones. I don't know. Jimmy Iovine, the producer, talks about the incredible urgency of using a telephone. That's what great reps do. They use the phone. Pitches are made on a telephone. So anyway, yeah. Cheers.
Well, that was my second question was what your gripe was with casting director workshops, and I think you've covered that. It was a natural flow on from there.
do it if you want to. I mean, it's okay. I just feel like casting directors who respect actors schedule general meetings with them. And what I don't like about the workshops is that some of the workshops just take anybody with a check that wants to pay. And now you're in a pool of actors who are like the sort of, I call the American Idol masses, who sort of decided they wanted to play cello, studied for 6 weeks, and want to audition in front of the LA Philharmonic. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You do not want to be in a group like that. You want to be seen by that casting director as an equal, as a colleague. So again, you're not hurting yourself. It's just, there's certain things. Watch the backstage video I did last week. It was on sort of myths and stuff like that. And certain things you can clear off your desk that were never fun to begin with. And not only that, build the relationship with the people that employ the casting directors, not just the casting directors. Casting directors are beautiful people, but they don't make final casting decisions. And not only that, when you get an audition, your strategy should be three-pronged. When something's currently casting, it's almost too late to meaningfully compete if you don't have pre-existing relationships before, because you want to come into casting producer approved, production approved, network approved. That way you are guaranteed that the producers are going to watch your work and not get filtered out at the casting level. So there's 3 parts to this. One is the building the relationships before, months, years, weeks before it ever gets to casting, doing the best acting that you can do with dangerous choices in the audition, and then the follow-up game, making sure that audition got there, seeing if there is anything that is needed. A couple of years ago, Matthew McConaughey came to one of our bar nights, and he had won the Oscar at that point, and he was sitting at the bar drinking with everybody else. He kind of had an intense week. And one of the actors sat next to Matthew McConaughey, and I was sitting up there with him too. And he said, "Hey, Matthew, like, what gets you up in the morning? Like, you kind of have everything we all want." And he said, he pointed to the bar and the bottles. He goes, and he talks like Matthew McConaughey. I'm not going to do it. I imagine something I like, a project, a role, a script, and I imagine laying claim to it, putting a stake in it, staking it, laying claim to it, making it my own. You know, I have a lot of scripts and projects people ask me to do, but there are things that they don't that I really want, and I have to strategize to lay claim to that. So I want to get to know those people, and you can get to know those people too. You know, who are you to do this? Well, you are one who loves acting, who gets up every morning because this is fun to do. You know, who is serious about training, good training. You know, and who are you? You're the one that has a right and a responsibility to reach out to those people that you want to work with, and then to build those relationships, to bring to your wonderful agency, to bring to Sean, to bring to your managers and say, listen, you now have a green light to now pitch me. This is what I did a conversation with my friend Sarah Jackson, who's one of my favorite managers. She's one of the best managers in the industry. It's on YouTube, and you can watch that on my YouTube channel, Joseph Pearlman YouTube. And it's a conversation with someone who I consider to be one of the most effective managers in the industry. She repped Zooey Deschanel, helped to build her career. Reps my client, Sean Clifford, who was one of the stars of Fleabag, Emmy nominated, multiple Emmys. And Sarah is talking about, we are having a conversation with our community about what it takes. And for you to be able to have a relationship and a green light and a friendly communication now with an executive producer, what a beautiful thing for your rep to know about, because your rep now knows there's an open door and can take the lead on potentially pitching you for something. So it's just beautiful. It's like, even with great reps, you know, it's still your responsibility to build relationships in the right way with the players, the people that you want to work with, and then deliver to that on a silver platter to your reps. And it's very important for your reps too. And watch that video. It's a good one. For your reps to know how to sell you when they pick up the phone. What is your hook, you know, and to think about that, and then to, you know, to let Sean know and to let your agency know, hey, this is, I've distilled some really sort of Harvard Business School level branding marketing. This may be useful when picking up the phone to pitch me or sell me, etc. Yeah, guys, this is so fun. It was so fun to hang out with you all here. Thank you for hanging with me. I really do encourage you to, the videos are so fun. I'm not going to put you to work with a bunch of bullshit. They're going to actually, you're going to feel amazing by watching the videos. And I really hope to see you guys and come watch one of the classes and let us know that you were a part of this, this event here, and come and watch. Well, I think probably master class is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific time. I don't know what time that is in Australia, but watch the master class
in the morning for us.
Yeah, no, don't do that to yourself. We do have people. We have somebody from like the, fuck, I can't even remember. But we have people from all over the world in the classes. We do have classes today, Wednesday. There's a class at 12 p.m. Pacific time. So, and I teach 2 other evening classes, and we just opened up PAA Asia, where we are working with basically the biggest stars of Japan. These are the people that are BAFTA nominated Giri Haji, the stars of that show. They're in our Tuesday class. So Tuesday evening at 5 p.m. we teach a class for Japanese actors, where we have some of the bigger director, producers, actors in Asia in that class, learning how to communicate better. And it's really cool. Pick a class, let Chris will let you know, and you come and watch one of them. But if you have a burning question, I'm happy to hit it. But otherwise, just thank you for
almost at the end.
I don't even know what the end. I don't even know what the end is.
But yeah, I would say
Don,
if anyone has any last burning questions, for sure.
You guys are so attentive and respectful. I see some guys writing some stuff down, and thanks for being into it. Yeah. These glasses, I have so much screen time that these are supposed to block all the blue light that comes from the devices. I think it's working, but it might just be in my head. I don't know. I don't like wearing glasses if I don't have to. Anyway, thank you guys.
Awesome.
Check out those videos.
Well, thank you, Joseph.
Thank you guys. So appreciate it.
I'll set up a little group chat for everyone, and I'll put all the details for all those guys.
Super. Yeah, cool. Let me know what you think of the videos. Any questions, send an email, and hope to see you guys sometime either this week or next and at the studio. Have a beautiful rest of your, what is it, Thursday?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Have a beautiful rest of your Thursday.
Enjoy your night, Joseph.
Thank you so much. Take care, you guys.
Bye.
Thanks so much.
Bye.